Okay, we're going to look at some of the more advanced tools for drawing that I think are going to help you a lot. We've already been over some of the simple stuff. Now we'll get into some of the more interesting things. Before I get started here, I want you to know that even though we're looking at a white background here, the background is really transparent, but sometimes it's hard to draw on a transparent background. So I've converted this to white by using the keyboard shortcut Control or Command Shift D. Command Shift D. I can't show you that because Command Shift D is taken over by my screen recording software. So sorry about that. Anyway, let's do this real quick. I want you to go Window, Workspace, Essentials. And once you've got Essentials, just go ahead and click Reset Essentials. Okay. And once you do that, I want you to go back and choose Window, Control. And that's going to light up our top line of control settings up there. It'll make our life a lot easier. So for starters, I'm going to go ahead and change this color to something else, red, whatever. And we're going to start drawing. I've got the pen tool chosen here. You know this already. You click and drag and you get a curvy shape. If you just simply click, you get these pointy ones, these angle points. The angles are called vertex. The curvies are called Bezier. And if we hold the control or command key, we can adjust these handles, adjust the points, and so on. If we use the Alt or Option key, we can move the points independently of each other, the handles independently. We can delete points by hovering and clicking. We can add points by going in between the lines here and clicking the plus key. And then, of course, then we can, by using control, we can pull them out there. If we use the Alt or Option key over a point like this, we can click and drag and convert an angled point to a vertex point to a Bezier point. So those are sort of the shortcuts there. All right, let's delete that. I'm going to go over to layers. If you don't see layers, you should, but if you don't see layers, go turn it on. Window, layers. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and delete this because I don't want it. And come on, baby. Good. All right, now I do want to show you this other tool. I know that the pen tool is hard for you. I know it's hard. You can shortcut that by using the curvature tool. Instead, we'll look at that. I'm going to go ahead and choose no color for the fill up here at the top. And for the stroke, I'm going to get a, oh, kind of, well, I don't know. Now, you know what? I'll leave it at 1 point right there. And what you do here is simply click and drag. You don't drag, you just click, click, click. And what that does is it makes this curvy line for you. You can grab hold of these independently and move them around. You can close the shape if you want to go all the way back around again. Okay, I'm just going to hit the escape key to so that the cursor doesn't follow me around anymore. And so there, we've got something. It's not very interesting, but there it is. So the first thing I want to point out to you is that you have this variable width profile up here. And this allows you to choose from several different profiles here. And this has this shape to it. If we increase the stroke a little bit, you'll see this start to take effect. Okay, so the line starts out skinny, in between gets fat. Okay, try these others and you'll see they have a different sort of a look to them. So that's kind of fun, you know, that's something. Right next to it is a whole set of other tools that you can use to convert these lines to something else. That one's not very useful. It's a barbed wire. I think that's also barbed wire. Not too good for creating a logo unless you're a barbed wire company, I guess. But there's a little flyout right up here at the top, and that allows you to go and look at these other brushes. Okay, So they're fun. Look at these things and see if you can find something that you are interested in. Okay, there's a library down here of brushes as well. Arrows. Let's go look at arrows. Arrow special. Um, and here is our arrows. So let's choose that arrow. And it gives us this little skinny thing. And we see the arrow starts up there, ends down there. We can increase the stroke, and there we get an arrow. And there we go. Thing keeps following me around. If we want to change it, change to one of the others, and so forth. So there are a lot of these brushes that you can use. I don't know. You want to try another one? Go to bristle brush. I don't know. There's the bristle brush library, and so we can look through here. I'm not going to bore you with all these things. I just want you to know that they're here. Okay. Now, a few more things we can do with this. This pattern that's used up here may or may not be of use to you. You may want it to be wide and narrow in certain places. You can choose what those places are by the use of this little width tool right here. This is really cool. So if you click on this guy, this width tool, just click and hold for a second, and you'll see there's all these things in here: warp, pucker, twirl, scallop. Go nuts, have fun, and play with these things. Let's start with a new shape. I'm just going to drag this guy to the trash again, and we'll start with our basic look up here, and using our curvature tool. No, I'm going to do the pen tool instead. We'll do the pen tool, and great, whatever. There's our shape. And hit escape to get rid of the cursor there following us around. And so we'll go down here to this width tool. Okay, and you'll see a little curvy line. I can click anywhere. I can click on the points, or I can click anywhere on this line, and it will allow us to change the width for these various pieces in here. Okay, so if you want to start skinny, start fat, whatever, you can create really cool looking little stuff just by the use of this width tool. It is totally editable, and you can go back and apply any of the various different tools here. If you wanted to go and put a different brush in there and so forth, you can do the same things to it. Okay, so I'll make it fat here, skinny here, I don't know, kind of fun. Whatever you want to do. Another good one that would help you to know about is the transform tools. I'm going to go get the selection tool, which will put a bounding box around this. And once you do, if you right click, you're going to see transform. Okay, and you have the opportunity of doing any of this stuff. Now, by default, you can spin it and so forth. Oh, there we go. If you go, like, for instance, you want to scale up right here, you can scale it up. You can make it really flat. If you want to proportionally scale it, you hold Shift and drag out from a corner. You can do any of these things you want to, but you also can do these transform functions right here. Reflect, if you want to flip it over, okay, you can flip it over here. This right now it's flipping it vertically. Or so forth. Okay, if that works better for you. Or if you want to create a mirror image of something, you would simply make a copy of it, right? So I'll copy this path, and I will transform that one back again. I will go ahead and mirror it, reflect it, they call it, I guess. And there's a second version of it, so we can move that. And I'm just going to nudge this over a little bit. And oh, wow. Okay, there you go. There's something. The way that I did the nudge was I just held the shift key and used the left right arrows, cursor keys on the keyboard to move that around. And moving on, another fun tool that you'll enjoy using, I think, is the symbols and the whole set of symbol tools down here. Okay. First, what's a symbol? Well, let's go look. Window, symbols. Okay. And here we have a whole set of symbols. Okay, we have 4 symbols, but there's stuff in there. If you look in the library, it will show you all sorts of different symbols that you can use. Flowers, grime. Grime's pretty good. You can make splatters and stuff like that. So with the sprayer tool, you can just you click one time, you get a splatter. If you click and drag, you get a whole bunch of splatters. You know, if that's your thing, good for Halloween or whatever, you can do some of that stuff. And feel free to load as many as you want to. Flow charts, I don't know. Hey, look, logo elements. Uh, yeah, don't use any of those, if you will. I haven't looked at all these. There's tons of stuff in there. You know, the problem with these presets like this is that you risk creating something that somebody else has already created. Because here it is. It's a preset, you know. Do your own thing if you can and come up with some unique designs. But all these splatters and stuff do really come in handy. Now with the symbols tool, if you, let's say you create a few of these things, but you don't like the placement. You can spread them out. You can move them around by using the shifter tool and the scruncher tool, sizer, spinner, and so forth. So all of these things are there for you to use. Again, we're not going to take the time to do all those individually. You need some time on your own to explore this stuff. Okay, I've cleared off the screen. Actually, what I've did is I've just hidden a layer and I've created a new layer by simply clicking the new layer icon down here. And I also just close the visibility for our old stuff right there with the little eyeball. I want to talk about gradients now with you. Now, there is a whole set of gradients up here, but let's just start with a rectangle. This one's yellow with a black stroke on it. Now, down here is another rectangle looking object, and that's the gradient tool. So if you just click inside here, you're going to get a gradient. Well, the gradients, how do you alter a gradient? Well, the easiest way to do it, you can create your own gradients, but there's a whole set of them in here. So they're going to be under your libraries, okay? And if you click on gradients, it'll show you all kinds of them. This one I think was under gems and jewels. So you can simply click on these and it's going to change the color for you. And let's see if we can try something different here. We'll go again to our library, go to gradients, and let's see what metals it's got in it. These are pretty handy actually, metals. If you need to adjust these, it's no problem. You can do that. So this is a big help when you're kind of trying to create different sort of look. For instance, if you wanted to kind of make a shape that looked like sort of like a pipe, maybe, you can do something like that and you get that kind of a look. If we take the stroke away from it, you kind of get an idea of what that looks like. Okay, so there are some interesting things that you can do with this. Now back to the gradient tool for a minute. There it is. If were to click in here, I got several options. You can reposition all of this stuff. Okay, you can shorten, lengthen, do whatever you want to do to these things. You can change where the points are in these gradients by simply hovering over them and changing them. So this is all alterable. Now the gradient tool in After Effects is different, and the gradient tool in Photoshop is different. It just works differently than this. So kind of, you know, you have to learn how to use each one of them individually. But have fun and create something cool. Good luck.